Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a new event that got announced. Honestly, I did not expect that this would come out that early. I think there must be like some kind of time change for the US. Let me know in the comment section if this is the case, because it's 1 hour earlier than usual, so I'm a little bit late as well because I did not expect it. But we're going to have here some information for the final event of this year, or like not this year, this month. Yeah, it's definitely the end of the year already. We're going to have here an event where we're going to get Shadow Groudon. Basically, I already took a look at this a little bit earlier on already, but like if you haven't missed this, like we want to still talk a little bit about Groudon here today. We're going to see here, going to start from March 27th and going to end at March 31st. It's usual for like those Team Go Rocket events that they're kind of short. This time around you're going to get the Shadow Groudon, and this time around it's also going to be the first time that you're going to be able to get Groudon for the Open Great League, which is going to be interesting, which you're going to see. We're going to get the Shadow Mewtwo back in Shadow Raids, which is going to be very cool as well. You're going to have some eggs here. Interestingly here enough, there's going to be a new shiny Pokemon. At least they didn't say it here, but they said somewhere else. It's oh no, never mind. It's Sandile and not Salandit. Like, if you could read this would be fine. But the Niantic made all of a sudden for this season the blog post so bad. So yeah, Sandile is going to be a new shiny. Looks, by the way, really crazy. If you saw it, maybe you saw it on the thumbnail anyway, then you know already how it looks like. Looks really cool. Event bonuses we're going to have here: Team Go Rocket going to appear more often in stops and balloons, and you're going to be able to delete frustration with a charged TM, which is going to be great. And we're going to get some more new Shadow Pokemon, which is going to be Pidgey, Darumaka, and Gothita, as well as Solosis. Here, this is going to be the post. No, this is going to be the post of Niantic's anyway, which is going to look a little bit better. So we're going to go over this here now as well, which you're going to see here. Also, the highlight, of course, going to be Shadow Groudon and Shadow Shiny Mewtwo. I wish that I would be able to do more Shadow Raids. Can you do Shadow Raids at your town? Like, it's just not really possible for me. Like, those legendary raids, like, I just don't really have enough people for that here. We're going to have the shiny Sandile, which is coming in, which you can see here as well. Super Rocket Raider going to allow you to get Shadow Groudon. You're going to get a new Super Rocket Raider during this week as well then. We're going to have the 1-star raids of Shadow Poliwag, which is cool. Shadow Barboach, which is cool. But for those raids, it's always 6 minimum IV, so like 6 attacks, 6 defense, 6 HP minimum. So like for PvP it's not going to be the greatest, but still like a Shadow Poliwrath with like a 6, 15, 15 spread still going to be definitely very solid, so you can still do this to hunt those down. 3-star raids not really that exciting, I have to say. And of course Mewtwo is returning, but only from the weekend, so only from the 30th till the 31st. And here, of course, again, wild encounters, which you haven't really looked at before. You're going to wildly encounter Woolabee, which is going to be great if you want to get a good one for PvP. I would really recommend you. Like, Woolabee or like Mandibuzz is really good in the current meta. Like, one of the best Pokemon in the meta. Really underrated still, but going to be very interesting. And here we're going to get also a paid research reward. Like, it's going to be, of course, again, a paid ticket with a Ponyard encounter, a Rocket Raider, Super Incubator, and 6 mysterious components. And here we're gonna see again the new Shadow Pokemon with Pidgey, Darumaka, Gothita as well. So Solosis. So let's take a look if those Pokemon going to be worth it or not. Starting off, we're going to have here the Great League. We're going to have basically all in here as well. I have like more different slides. I think, yeah, I just not put in here a Reuniclus. Reuniclus might be actually decent eventually if they're gonna give this Pokemon a good fast move. Right now, the best fast move for Reuniclus is Hidden Power, and this kind of tells you already. And this kind of goes for the Gothita as well. Gothita still needs a better fast move and maybe even another better charge move as well. Already has Rock Slide, but yeah, Gothita basically here with Confusion, Rock Slide, Future Sight. It is just not really up to date, I have to say. But those Pokemon are things that I would recommend you to hold on to for the future. I think Gothita has some potential. If, for example, like Psywave gonna get added to this Pokemon and like crazy getting a buff or something like this, like +2 damage or like +2 energy or something like this, I think energy +2 would be nice for it. So like this Pokemon has some potential in the future. Definitely try to keep it, but right now it's very unlikely. I'm excited for Pidgeot. I could see actually even Feather Dance not being the best play for it, but the Aerial Ace might be very interesting as a Shadow variant, and Darumaka is especially interesting for the people that raid a lot. This Pokemon is basically doing the most amount of damage that he could actually like go for like a fire type. I think it's going to be like one of the strongest, hardest hitting Pokemon with Incinerate, Overheat. But let's take a look on how they're going to perform in the Go Battle League. And we're going to see here as well, Pidgeot kind of performs the exact same, which is, yeah, kind of what you can expect as well. Like this Pokemon still going to lose against Pokemon like Skarmory and Lantern. By the way, Pidgeot kind of highly underrated right now as well. I think this Pokemon has a lot of potential. Gothitelle going to be a little bit worse against something like Azumarill, and Darmanitan is just not going to change too much. Again, you're going to be able to destroy those steel types because you just melt them down in like a few seconds. But otherwise, not going to be the craziest Pokemon. Let's take a look real quick in the two-shit scenario here as well, because this is going to show us a little bit more of what Darmanitan can do here. We can actually farm down something like a Cresselia then as well, but you see here already Pidgeot is not actually really appreciating the Shadow bonus. But again, maybe actually it is better for this Pokemon to go ahead and go for Aerial Ace. Not too sure about it. Of course, Feather Dance is like the uniqueness of this Pokemon, but yeah, as we can see here, Aerial Ace actually helps it out quite a bit in the two-shield scenario. Still against Goodra you might lose, but Aerial Ace gives you consistent matchups. Like this is the benefit of Aerial Ace Pidgeot over the Pidgeot with the Feather Dance. Feather Dance basically does no damage but drops the opponent's attack by 2 stages. While basically this is going to be the results that you're always going to have on the right side for the Shadow Pidgeot now because of Aerial Ace. While on the left side it kind of more shows like, oh, okay, if the opponent has to stick into this matchup and you can debuff them first and then maybe Brave Bird them later on. So I would actually say that maybe Aerial Ace is going to be better for you. Interesting enough, Groudon is actually not that bad in the Open Great League, which is kind of funny, completely annihilating Registeel, Calming, Skarmory, a Lantern or a Bastion here as well, which is going to be great for it. This thing is going to be so much fun, can't wait to play this Pokemon. Like, honestly, I'm really excited for this one, which is going to be so cool to play this one here. I just like obviously when you have like those new Shadow Pokemon for the Great League that are legendary. So very excited for this one. It's not going to be like competitive at all, of course not, but like it's still a lot of fun to play. For the Ultra League, we're going to have here the Pidgeot as well. Again, I could see Aerial Ace being a little bit better. Gothitelle can get there as well. I think you need some XL candy for it exactly. And Darmanitan easily can get there. And as you're going to see here right now as well, we're going to see that Pidgeot is going to lose some matchups here. But again, on the left side, it is not really showcasing the actual strength of Pidgeot, because if opponents like swap out or whatever, the debuff doesn't really help you. So Pidgeot is really a sim hero, so it's going to be better on PvPoke than it shows with the current moveset. But if you go ahead and go for something like Aerial Ace again here, you're going to have a consistent Pidgeot that always going to basically perform like this, which is going to be better for you to showcase it more and gives you more of an accurate play on how this Pokemon really functions. For Gothitelle, again, a Pokemon that might be good in the future, but honestly, look at Darmanitan. Darmanitan actually takes quite a lot of wins here, which I did not really expect. And if we can take a look in the two-shield scenario for those, again, I feel like we're gonna see quite a lot of that the Darmanitan can do. As you will, yeah, okay, Darmanitan actually has like very close over the summer matchups, but even against the Deoxys, he can win now. Pidgeot is still looking very solid, even though with Aerial Ace, which is not preferred, but I feel like it's a very cool move to go for. Gothitelle, again, it needs a better fast mover Uniclus we're not going to take a look at. For Groudon, we can actually compare the two Groudons now as well with the Shadow and the non-Shadow. Neither of them going to be very meta. You can kinda ignore it. Like, Shadow Groudon for the Ultra League sounds fun, but I would not really recommend you to go for that. But let's take a look at the Master League. Darmanitan actually gets to a respectable amount of CP because of the high attack, which you see as well. Like, look how low the defense stat of this Pokemon is. But Groudon is going to be an interesting one. We're going to take a look a little bit closer into what Groudon can do later as well. And as you can see here, you can pick up the matchup against Kyogre, but you're going to lose against the Giratina Origin instead, just because you don't have enough HP to survive the Shadow Ball. For Darmanitan, kinda, you can neglect this Pokemon. It's a lot of fun to play, but it is not really the best Pokemon. But let's take a look actually at what changes for Groudon. Here we're going to have the one-shield scenario, and we can compare the Shadow variant to the normal variant. And as you're going to see here, but a matchup against Scoutchomber and Excadrill doesn't really matter. You lose against Giratina Altered in Origin, which is actually really bad for you. You're gonna win against Kyogre, which is kind of more bait dependent as well, which is a little bit annoying. Otherwise, not a lot really changes here for you, neither like to the worst or to the best. Ursaluna doesn't really matter, you don't see this Pokemon at all, so it doesn't really change anything for it. Well, let's see here, two-shield scenario, we're going to see that the Shadow variant actually can win against Ho-Oh, Ursaluna, and Zarude, which you see on the bottom screen here. Against Ho, I guess it's kind of funny that you can actually win this, because I guess you can two-shot them in the two-shield scenario with the Precipice Blade, but I think you have to bait for this matchup as well. Otherwise, you can look through it here as well. Again, Ursaluna can win, Zarude can win because of Fire Punch damage doing a little bit more, but the average rating here, which you see on the right side, is going to be dropped as well. Zero Shield, I think most likely is going to be the best one for the Shadow variant. Exactly. This is the thing as well. Here, what I expected, Zero Shield Shadow Groudon is insane. Like, this thing is going to just one-shot most rest of the meta, because before you were just barely a little bit off with the Precious Blade, but now you're gonna be able to do like so much hard-hitting damage. So like as a closer, as a zero shield Pokemon, this thing looks like a lot of fun and looks really insane, but anything else is going to be a little bit tricky. So what would I recommend you? If you have 2 Rocket Raiders, you could go for this. For PvP, it is worth it for the Master League, I would say. I think it's a little bit better than the normal variant. Just slightly, not crazy. So like your normal Groudon is still going to be fine. But it definitely has some play there. But if you only have like a 1 Raider, I would rather keep it for the Great League as like me personally. But of course, if you're more like the tryhard, maybe it's something for you for the Master League and then for raids. But yeah, if you have 2, maybe go for 1 for Master League and go for 1 for the Great League. Otherwise, you can hold on to the next one, which would be the Rayquaza, which you can actually take a look real quick as well, just in case you want to see if your Rocket Raider is going to be worth it or not. Not the Mega, the Shadow variant. Again, Rayquaza is going to look a little bit worse on PvPoke than it actually is going to be when you play it, because for PvPoke, every time you go for one Breaking Swipe, the first one is going to be not getting the debuff. And here you can actually take some knockouts against Dragonite and Garchomp, which is kind of cool, in the 0 shields. We want to see here for this Pokemon, and the 2 shield and the 1 shields is actually going to be way better, it looks like. Yeah, definitely looks like way better, because it's just going to do more damage. And I have to say, I think it might be even worth it to keep your shield, like your Raiders, maybe for the Rayquaza. It really depends on what you want to do. I think Shadow Rayquaza are going to be great as well. But yeah, like I would actually recommend you, if you only want to use 1, keep it for the Great League, because it's going to come back into raids eventually anyway. Like you're still going to get, like maybe in a year or like in 1.5 years, you're gonna still get another option to get one from raids. And yeah, this one will not be then possible to be for Great League. So for me personally, I will only go for 1, go for the Great League one, and have a great time with this one. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.